The miraculous journey of Edward Tulane starts in an elegant house on Egypt Street. A girl named Abilene Tulane receives a 3-feet-tall china rabbit from her grandmother, Pellegrina, on her birthday. The rabbit is outstandingly well made by a famous French doll maker. The rabbit has a wardrobe of well-made suits, leather shoes, and hats, and even has a little gold pocket watch that tells time. Abilene names him Edward. In the Tulane household, he is cared for and loved. He lives a relaxed and peaceful life. Edward, however, is vain, cold-hearted, and self-absorbed. Abilene's grandmother is the only person who senses the shallowness of Edward. She tells Abilene and Edward a bedtime story about a beautiful, heartless princess with a sad and tragic ending. The adventure begins as Edward is accidentally thrown overboard on a cruise to London. Sinking to the bottom of the sea, Edward gets his first emotion, fear. After 297 days, a storm stirs up the water, and Edward gets caught in a fisherman's net. The fisherman, Lawrence, brings Edward back home to his wife, Nellie. Nellie names him Susanna and puts a dress on him. For the first time, he begins to listen attentively to stories of other people. His time with them comes to an abrupt end when their arrogant adult daughter comes to visit, hearing rumors that her parents were talking to a china rabbit, and then she tosses him in the trash. Edward is left in a garbage heap where he understands laws for the first time. After 180 days, Edward is dragged out of the dump by a dog named Lucy, and he was renamed Malone by a hobo named Bull. Edward spends 7 happy years traveling on road with Bull and the dog Lucy. Yet this pleasant time ends when a railroad conductor catches them hitching a ride, and Edward is kicked off the train, losing Bull and Lucy. An old woman picks up Edward and uses him as a scarecrow in her garden until Bryce, an abused boy, rescues Edward for his poor little sister, Sarah Ruth. Sarah is a 4-year-old girl who is extremely ill. Sarah adores Edward deeply and calls him Jangles. Edward really cares for this girl, but she dies on a sunny day. Bryce escapes with Edward. He struggles to make money by using Edward as a puppet for street shows. When he does not have enough money to pay for his meal at a local diner, the owner is furious and crushes Edward's head on the counter. Bryce brings Edward to a doll mender after his head is broken into 21 pieces. He agrees that the mender can keep Edward after he is fixed. Edward awakens in the doll shop and is placed on the shelf to be sold. However, Edward is heartbroken and swears never to love again, until a wise old doll tells him that he must open his heart for someone to love him. One rainy day, after Edward has sat on the shelf for years, a little girl and her mother walked into the store. The girl instantly likes Edward. The mother comes over, recognizes Edward, and Edward recognizes her. It's Abilene. After many years, Edward finally returns home, but this time he knows exactly how to love.